guys. Yes, I have been keeping a secret, a really big secret. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Priscilla Chigariro and this is my channel. We talk about lifestyle, fashion, interior design, and everything in between. So I have been keeping this secret for the past year, exactly, an entire year. So as the title suggests, I won a lottery. Which lottery? I got the confirmation today. So the reason why I can talk about it now is because I kind of didn't want to jinx it, and it's a process. So I won. Okay, I cannot show my address. So I won the green card lottery. I am now a permanent US resident. I am so excited. Like I literally cannot believe it. It is so incredible. And it came in the mail today, my green card. I found out last week, like exactly a week ago, that I was gonna get it. And this came in the packet as well. Amazing. I am totally like, I cannot believe it. I knew it was coming. Well, I hoped it was coming, that it was actually going to happen. But then like actually just holding this card right now, just looking at it, like I haven't even unstuck it. I wanted to kind of share this moment. But yeah, there we go. I have it. I can now travel. I can now work. Like the big thing, like I feel like, it's not that I feel like, my life has changed. Like, yesterday, what I couldn't do, everything that I couldn't do yesterday, I can do today. It's like such a big difference. Anyway, to rewind how this happened. So when I first came to the US, I came here in 2021. I arrived on August the 1st, 2021. And because of all the drama that was happening, I focused 100% on the reasons why I was here, which was to get my kid and to sort out my custody issues. But then in September, about a month after we had been here, my sister who lives in Florida sent this link to me. She was like, you know what, why don't you just enter this lottery? They run it every year and you know, you never know. So I was so focused on everything that was going on. I just forwarded the link to my older sister who had come with me. So I was like to her, oh, you know, take a look at this and, you know, apply. And she applied for the both of us. She applied for herself, she applied for me and my daughter. And then that was September. I forwarded her the link and I completely forgot about it. I didn't think about it because I mean, all the drama that was going on, it was like, it came into my mind and went straight out. So the following year in about May, that's 2022, last year in May, the results came out. So what they do is, this is an international lottery. Everyone in the world can enter as long as you're not already a US citizen. I mean, why would you enter? So anybody in the whole world can enter this, and they give 55,000 visas every single year. They give out 55,000 green cards. So of all the billions of people that are on earth that are not American citizens, that do enter this contest, well, this lottery, they only give 55,000. So in May last year, the results for the lottery came out and I wasn't even thinking about this, remember? So my sister is the one who checked. She put in like the receipt numbers and stuff and she didn't get it. And then she put in my receipt number to check and bam, it was like, you have been selected for the green card lottery. She was like, oh my God, she sent this to me. I was like, what? I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, what? You know, because like for me, there was like, I didn't actually have a plan to stay in the US when I first came here. I came for my business and then that business was just extended and then I was just unable to leave at some stage because of the whole legal situation with my ex and the kids. You know, when you don't have full like permanent custody of your kids, you cannot leave the country with them. So I was kind of stuck here and I was stuck without work, without the capability of working. I was here legally, but then I wasn't allowed to work. I wasn't allowed to do anything. It was basically just an extended tourist visa. So I was trying to think to myself, okay, what could I use? Like, because for you to understand the gravity and the importance of actually winning this lottery, there are thousands of people in the US that are here and have lived here for absolute years, like 20 years, with absolutely no way of legalizing their presence in the US. So to win this green card, which gives me permanent residence in the US, which gives me the ability to apply for citizenship just after a couple of years, I get citizenship. And so it's like, what? And I've only been here for a year and 10 months. So I was like beside myself, crazy excited, happy and everything. But then the thing is, obviously there are conditions. You are selected for the green card lottery, but then you still need to meet conditions like educational conditions, health, and all of that kind of thing. And you still need to apply. You still need to change your status. So, and also on top of all that, you are given a number. My number was 27,500. And so what they do is when they open the lottery, so my year was for 2023, and 2023 started in September. They started, you could then apply from September. So as soon as September came, I checked and they were on 5,000. So you're not allowed to apply until your number comes up, or if your number is below the number that they have listed online. So I was checking every single month and it was like 5,000. Then 9,000. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, by the time, are they ever going to get to 27,000? By the time they get there, I mean, that's like a ton of the visas gone already. And keep in mind, they have different numbers for the different countries, or different continents. So there's Africa, and then there's Europe, and then there's so on and so on. And they all have their different numbers. And remember, it's 55,000 visas worldwide. So I was freaking out. And I still had this, and I was like to myself, no, literally, I could not have been given this opportunity if this was not meant for me. Like, this has to happen. It must happen. It will happen. And I just kept pushing and I kept believing. And I was like, no, it's going to happen, because I literally had no other plan. No other plan for how to stay in this country without having to apply for asylum, which I didn't want to do. So December came. And they were, I think, on 20,000. And I was like, oh, I think I'm close. I think we're getting there. So January came, 25,000. I was like, this is it. By the time it's February, I'm sure they would have gotten to my number. So I started preparing. I started gathering all the documents that I needed, made sure that I had my certificates from school. I prepared my CV. I paid, because there's a lottery fee, I paid the lottery fee. And started the process. And as I predicted, 27,000 came up in February. It actually jumped from 25 to 29,000. So I was within the window. So I, as soon as I got my receipt back, because you have to pay the lottery fee for the process. So I paid that and I waited for my receipt. It took like 3 weeks to get the receipt back. But in the meantime, I filled out my I-485 to change my status and gathered all the documents, went over this form, made sure it was filled in perfectly. And remember, like, I had this whole, I had a black mark. The entire criminal situation, the trial that I had to go through in Zim was like the only thing that kind of like blemished my record. And I was clean, I was clear about it. And thankfully, before I left Zimbabwe, I'm so happy I did this. I actually went to court and I got a record which showed that I was acquitted. That record was the only thing that eventually stood between me and actually getting this card. So I'm so happy that I got it. But anyway, so February came, I filled out my forms, finished everything, and then I started like raising the money to pay for the green card. It's like 1.2. And remember, I'm not working, so it's not exactly like I can just pull out $1,200 from somewhere. But yeah, I borrowed money from a friend. Actually, I was like, I wanted to do a fundraiser, and I called this friend of mine. I was like, oh my gosh, can you help me to do a fundraiser? I have the opportunity to get a green card, etc. And my whole life will change after that. And then she was like to me, oh my gosh, no, that is such a little bit of money. I'm going to give it to you. And she gave it to me. So in March came. Once everything was now perfect, I mailed out my application on March the 28th, sent in my application with all the supporting documents, everything. I think I even gave them way too much, but then I wanted to make myself, to confirm that I was highly employable. I was not coming to the US to kind of like take advantage of anything and anybody, but I was coming here because I was going to work. I was actually going to make a contribution. So I sent it in March the 28th. March the 30th, they received my application. The following week, I got a letter confirming that they had received my payment and that they were processing my application. I was like, okay, good, at least things were the wheels were turning. And then 2 weeks later, it was like 3 weeks later, the end of March, that's when what am I talking about? The end of April, yes. End of April, remember I went to Florida and then I went to San Francisco. Whilst I was in Florida, the day after I arrived, it was literally the last week of April, my sister called me, she was like, oh, you got 2 letters from USCIS. And then I was like, to open them. So one of them was a request for me to do a medical exam, which was cool because, it's normal procedure. You have to do one with the civil surgeon. So I was like, okay, cool. And then the second one was my interview appointment, which was supposed to take place on the 18th of May. I was like, oh my God, wow, this is actually happening. So I got back from San Francisco. Immediately I did my biometrics because somewhere in between I had also gotten a letter to go do my biometrics. I went and I did my biometrics. The following week I went to see the civil surgeon. I had 3 immunizations done. It was like a Wednesday. I had 3 immunizations done. I felt like hell. Got home, slept for almost 2 days. I was like completely out of it. And then the following week on the 18th of May, I went in bright and early with this entire folder. Like literally, my lawyer and I prepared this entire folder just in case they asked any questions. We spent literally the entire the previous afternoon preparing this binder with every single little bit of anything that they could ask. And I went there and I actually had 2 of them because I had my own. This has all the Zimbabwe cases and all the information in Zimbabwe. And this one was all of the relevant United States court history. It was insane. I was like, you know what? There's no way that I'm even chancing it. I'm going with everything. I'm going with everything. So I walk into the office and the man who interviewed me was like, oh, you know what? I would have waived this interview. It's just that I really needed to see the criminal report. Turns out that was the only thing he wanted to see. I was like, you don't want to see anything in my binder? We prepared this whole thing. He was like, no, I just want to see that. I was just like, oh my God, after all that. But so I showed this to him and he was like, okay. He made copies, asked me a couple of questions. The entire interview was 20 minutes. And he was like, okay, great. So we're going to post you your green card. I have your visa right here, blah, 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 everything, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Okay, it's over, finally. I literally could not digest it then. And I was like to myself, you know what? Before you tell anybody, before you do anything, just wait for the card to arrive where you can actually hold it physically and look at it and touch it. And it's like, yes, now it's real, guys. This month has been, it's been like May actually seems like it's the month that things happen for me. Last year in May, I found out I'd won the green card lottery. I thought that the issues between myself and my ex were over. That's when we signed our agreement. But yeah, and this month he was found guilty and almost permanently removed from my life. That was like the biggest obstacle that I had, something that was actually really holding me back. And I really would not have been able to continue like with my life trying to rebuild and everything had you not been removed from the picture. And then like 2 weeks later, I get my green card and work authorization. I got my social as well. I literally can go right this moment and get a job. I literally can get on a plane right now and go anywhere and come back without any issues. It just seems so incredible. Like I'm having such a hard time digesting it myself that like all of a sudden the world is actually my oyster. Anything and everything that I ever dreamed of doing, I can now do. And the only thing that is stopping me is me. Literally, there is nothing else that is left that is in my way. It is such a crazy position to be in after like basically a decade of oppression of some sort, one stress or other. It's insane. It's really insane. But I am beyond thankful. And you know, I feel like I have the degree and level of peace that I have right now. And if anybody ever wondered, like in my past videos, why I was pretty calm and kind of pretty okay with everything, it was because I felt like, you know, the universe, life was actually working for me. I knew that I had this possibility of getting this. And I kind of felt like I had been brought to the US for a reason, and all the obstacles that were previously in my path, in my way, were removed and were being removed. I was removed from a place where I couldn't flourish and brought to a place where I could, and to a place where it would make it easier to remove all of these things that were blocking me from achieving my goals and from actually just simply living. And then on top of all that, I was given the documents necessary for me to actually be able to work, to actually be able to flourish. You know, it's not necessarily that I have to work for someone, but just even working for myself, doing anything needed documents. Like I had to shut down my website for Glam and Vintage because I actually didn't realize that you are not even allowed to work remotely unless it's for a nonprofit. That's why I could work on Fashion Week. But anything that gives you income, you cannot do as long as you're in the US and you have no like work authorization. So like I was so limited in what I could do, even though I was dying to actually do stuff. But this like now, I mean, I feel like, you know, when you win the lottery, cash lottery, and you just suddenly have all of this money and you don't even know where to start and you don't even know where to like spend it. That's how I feel. I'm like, where do I even start? Because all of a sudden I can now actually like apply for a job somewhere. I can actually like, you know, I can do stuff. And like, where do I even begin? But yeah, no, I began by looking at the job market and looking for, you know, sending out my resume. And yes, I got a response. I have my first job interview next week on Wednesday. I'll let you guys know how that goes. And also, it's a place, like if I get the job, it's a place that I know I'm gonna love working. It is in fashion and it is, you know, high end. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited. I feel like there's just so much. So yeah, this is the good news that I wanted to share with you guys. And for everybody that's been asking, and I know that a lot of people have been commenting and stuff like that, and I've always been quiet on this subject. Like I know a lot of people like, oh, you know, are you a Christian, etc. Like, who do you believe in? Like, what do you do, etc. I am not a Christian. I am spiritual. I have always been spiritual. I actually practice traditional African spirituality. I guess that's what you would call it. Traditional African practices. So I know, like, I don't even want to talk about this like from a perspective of why not this instead of that. I think that what everybody believes and what they practice is a personal choice, and it should be something that works for you. I don't judge anybody that chooses to be whatever they want to be, because I do what works for me, and this works for me. And I believe that my ancestors have guided me, and they have protected me, and they have looked after me. And if I ever had any doubts, I no longer have any. No, I did not have any doubts. But yeah, I am so grateful to them for taking care of me and my family and bringing us closer together, which is one of the things that I really value about traditional African practices. It's not something that you do individually, you do it as a family. But yeah, I could not be more grateful. I could not be more thankful. And I feel like I'm now in a place where I feel protected, I feel safe, I feel like I can flourish. I'm in an economy which supports entrepreneurship and which supports creativity. So yeah, big things, hopefully, big things. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yes, the world is now open. We are gonna do so much more than what we've been doing, and thankfully so. Love you guys. Thank you so much for always being here, and I look forward to reading all your comments, and love you. Take care. Have a fabulous weekend. I am about to go and pop a bottle of champagne. We have got lots to celebrate and so much to be thankful for. Take care and have a fabulous weekend.